you my Good morning, and apologies for the delay there. I was doing some laundry because I heard the dryer go off, so I had to go over there and take care of that. All right. What is up? Oh boy. It is another beautiful day in paradise, and kind of cold right now, so hence why I'm wearing the hoodie. Anyway, get some more light. Perfect. All right. Yeah, so what's up? We got some stuff to go over. You know, nothing too big, nothing too important, you know, just coup attempts in other countries and far-right terrorist attacks in the United States. I mean, it's your average week, you know. Oh boy, yeah. Before we get into the big stuff here, there's some stuff I'd like to look at first that I thought was interesting. Let me pull it up here. Oh man, is this really not going to let me do it? Hold on. There we go. Perfect. All right. Hopefully the audio works here. Let me just double check.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you my priority. Protect religious liberty. Protect people of...
All right. I have not watched this, by the way. I just I just saw the headline. Okay. Okay, yeah, I guess I should explain what's happening. This is okay, I don't know who this person is, but they're a representative and they're against gay marriage is what I understand. And apparently they cried on the Senate floor. I don't know. Let me turn this up a little. Okay, I guess they like cried or something. I'm not really sure exactly what's going on, but let's hear what they have to say, I guess, about gay marriage. This is, by the way, this is in the good news here is that the Marriage Equality Act was passed through the Senate, the House, and it is officially going to the desk of Biden for him to sign. And looks like it's going to be codified, which is great. It's actually very good. But this person doesn't seem to agree, apparently. I guess we'll have to hear what she has to say.
Mr. Speaker, I'll tell you my priorities.
And hopefully you can hear it.
Protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill. I yield back.
When you hate gay people so much, you start crying. It honestly is incredible, like the mind of a anti-gay person, like remarkable, in fact. Now this is just marriage we're talking, okay? This is just like a legal thing at the end of the day, really. It's just like a legal matter. These individuals, however, believe marriage to be something enshrined by God, I guess. Something that, you know, that only a man and a woman can get married. And I guess this is, in their eyes, a step backwards from whatever, protecting the traditional household, something like that. I don't know. Honestly, who gives a fuck though? You know, like this is one of the few. So like gay marriage, right? And LGBTQ like rights in general was like one of the first things that I started getting interested in with respect to like politics. This was a long time ago. And I, one of the first perspectives I adopted was, kind of like, they can do what they want because if they want to get married, they should be allowed to get married and whatever. It's not a big deal. I just can't. I guess I just can't believe that we're still like talking about this. Maybe, it's like I don't know. And these people, by the way, are the same people who always are, spouting out about like freedom and the government should not intervene in the lives of their citizens, blah blah blah. When and then turn back around and do shit that try to oppose the equality of marriage between heterosexuals and homosexuals. It's crazy here. Also, you can make that argument again for like abortion as well, because like they, are little government for certain things, but big government for other things, which, they're not consistent in that respect. But is this really worth crying over? Is this really worth crying over? Like, for real? Holy shit. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say to that. Like, they hate gay... It's insane how much they hate gay people. Like, it's crazy. They hate them so much that they're, like, sobbing on the floor to oppose the... To oppose the, marriage of homosexuals. Unbelievable. Well, yeah, anyway. That's what's going on with that. What else here before we get to the meat? Oh yeah, I saw this. I don't know if, yeah, I guess I'll show it. I saw this a couple days ago. Yeah. This was earlier in the week. I won't like dwell too much on it, but so there's some shit going on with this Twitch streamer. Her name is Amarith. Sorry if I can't pronounce it correctly. Basically she streamed. So there's some shit going on with her. Like she has a partner, I guess, who was abusive. And very controlling over her finances, and just a terrible person. Very abusive emotionally and financially and things and like that, whatever. And I suppose a anonymous viewer had sent her a new iPhone, a taser, something like about a bodyguard. Oh, like phone numbers for prepaid bodyguard services, as well as $70,000 in cash. Right. So that's what's happening with that. And so the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I had one thing to share about it. Now, the situation going on with this streamer is obviously bad because, she streamed. It was streamed live. A phone call with her, I guess, partner, whatever, who was obviously being abusive towards her, and it was basically revealed that she's in an unhealthy relationship, not really as a product of her own doing, but yeah, that's what's happening. And this individual who sent her all this shit, I mean, like, the meaning behind it's like it's obviously seems to be born out of good intentions. The problem, though, um, is the cash. So that's a lot of cash to receive. And I feel as though this might even put her in more danger than before, because she streamed this live, and like she received this care package and she streamed it live, so people know that she has all that cash on hand. This absolutely puts her in more danger and puts a target on her back, because if people see that that she has all this cash on hand, you know, who knows what crazy fuck out there is gonna try to, figure out where she lives or whatever, and attempt to rob her, not just of the cash, I guess, but also of all her other shit. This just puts her in a little more of a dangerous situation, and this wouldn't be as bad if it weren't streamed live, because, if nobody knows that this happened, then obviously she wouldn't be as likely to receive, she wouldn't be as likely for somebody to come over there and steal her shit. I guess the prepaid bodyguard service is good to mitigate that possibility, but like still, it's not good as for the reasons I listed. Also, she can't just like deposit this cash, $70,000. Like, you're just gonna go to a bank and deposit that? Because, so, yeah, I don't know if that's going to work out. You can't just go to like a teller and be like, here you go. I would like to deposit $70,000 in cash. That's not going to work like that. They'll oh, whoopsie, sorry. If you do that, they're going to file a CTR. And not only that, but like that comes off hella suspicious. Like they're gonna want to like know where that money came from, and they have AML regulations they have to adhere to. So, like, they're gonna want to trace back the funds to like the source, like where did you get it from, and what's she gonna say? Like, oh, I got it from this anonymous person. Like, okay, like it doesn't work. It's just not. It just doesn't make sense to deposit it in a bank for that reason. Maybe if she like finds out like who actually sent it, and then they could, the bank could put in a 314B request to the bank that individual withdrew the fund or withdrew the cash from. Assuming that they're from different banks, and maybe they could figure that out. But like, I don't know. This just doesn't. It's just probably not a good idea to deposit in the bank. I mean, I guess you could hide it, sure, but like, that doesn't change the other thing I mentioned with her having a target on her back for everyone seeing that she has this cash, right? So yeah. Anyway, I guess the moral of the story here is that this is good intentions aren't good enough, because like all the other shit's fine, like the iPhone, the taser, whatever, but like the cash is the main issue. I mean, like, maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but like, I don't know. I understand that her situation she's not in a good situation right now, but this is probably not the right way to help her. But yeah, so anyway. What do I know? I'm a lowly streamer. Ah, shit. Oh yeah, I got a McDonald's earlier, so I'm just sipping on that. Okay. Um, All right. Now on to something pretty cray. So you guys know how far right ideology is becoming more ubiquitous across not just the United States but the world. This was exemplified through a recent coup attempt that took place in Germany. Now let me share with you guys the article, and then we'll dig into it a little bit. Okay, here we go. So German authorities on Thursday ordered 23 people to be held for questioning as they investigated a far-right group that prosecutors say wanted to overthrow the state and install a former member of the German royal family as a national leader. This is not a plot. This is not like a situation found in Civilization 6 or Civilization 6. It's not like Hearts of Iron bullshit. This is like for realsies happening in the real world. Investigators have said the group, many of whom were members of the movement Reichsbürger, I hope I said that right, planned to install aristocrat Heinrich Prinz Reuss as leader of the new state and found evidence that some members planned to storm the German parliament and seize lawmakers. This person is a descendant of the royal house of Reuss in the eastern state of Thuringia. My American chauvinism is showing here. Was working as a real estate developer. He was arrested in the financial capital of Frankfurt on Wednesday in a swoop of the group that has shocked many in one of Europe's most stable democracies. Right. Okay. An Interior Ministry spokesperson said raids the previous day, in which 25 people were detained across Germany as well as Austria and Italy, were the most extensive executive measures against the Reichsbürger ever seen in Germany. The most important consequence is that everyone knows we have a resilient state and democracy. Alongside the 23 remained in custody, 2 people arrested outside Germany are set to be extradited. Many of the suspects are over 50, and they encompass right-wingers, COVID deniers, and people who reject modern German state. It should also be noted that amongst this group of individuals, they have adopted QAnon as a belief. So that's cool. More arrests are likely to come. Wednesday's raids are carried out across 11 German federal states. Okay. Prosecutors said the group was inspired by the deep state conspiracy theories of Germany's Reichsbürger and QAnon, whose advocates were among those arrested at the storming of the U.S. Capitol in 2021. Members of the Reichsbürger do not recognize modern-day Germany and its borders as a legitimate state. Some are devoted to the old German Reich under a monarchy, with some also sharing Nazi ideas and believing Germany is under military occupation. So does this mean that they wanted not even like just, World War II German borders? They want to go all the way back to the fucking 1800s? That's wild. Okay. What else? A former lawmaker from the far-right Alternative for Germany was among those detained, prosecutors said. Okay. People are scared, and the AfD takes advantage of that and offers simple solutions. Right. Oh, is that it? Okay. Yeah, so basically, a far-right group inspired by QAnon, excuse me, had attempted to overthrow the government of Germany, and for the purposes of reestablishing pre-1900 German borders and installing the monarch and a monarchy with Heinrich the 14th, who was disowned by. Okay, yeah, so they just want to install a monarchy and go back to 1800 borders, blah, blah, blah. Now, yeah, this is although the likelihood of a successful coup attempt was low. The fact that it is being attempted at all is pretty crazy. I know coup attempts and political instability is to be expected over X amount of years because of various economic and political fluctuations throughout history, and I understand that, but it's still pretty remarkable that there there is a movement that is even attempting to or planning to attempt to do this shit. Especially I mean, I know Germany doesn't have like the greatest history in terms of human rights or democracy or whatever, but right now in today's modern age, Germany's a I would argue a thriving democracy, as well as a one having a really good economy in Europe, especially. And I don't know. I mean, I think I feel like this exemplifies just the fact that far right extremism and fascism as a whole is kind of on the rise, not just in America but across the world. You know, and we had the insurrection in 2021 in the United States. We have this coup attempt here in Germany. And yeah, I mean, this shit's just like all over the place. So I don't know. I don't. I mean, this kind of speaks for itself, right? Like the degree to which these people are attempting to overthrow the government and install a fascistic form of governance, or in this case, it was a monarchy, but is troubling to say the least. I think that everybody needs to fight this form of extremism, far right extremism, with as much ferocity as the extremists themselves, trying to install said monarchs and what have you. This is yeah, I mean, just again highlights a growing trend that we are witnessing across the world with growing nationalism and return to tradition, whatever. Yeah, I mean, again, there's really not much more to be said about this. It's certainly worrying. And I think maybe I'll dedicate a stream where we just go into fascism. Just look up what it means, how it develops, why it develops, some of the theories behind it, and I feel like that would be a good, useful. That would be a useful part of our time, So I think it would do us all good to understand the mechanisms that allows fascism to proliferate within a society. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about this. Again, it's worrying, it's bad, and we should be we really have to take this shit seriously, Yeah, so anyway. Oh my god, okay, hold on. Why is that? Okay, thank you. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Let's go ahead and look at this here. No, that's not what I want. Okay. All right. Pull up here. So, yeah, speaking of fascism and far-right extremism, back over here in the United States, there was recently an attack on a power grid in North Carolina, which is speculated to have been targeting a drag show and the LGBTQ community as a whole. But let's read a little bit about it. So, there was a shooting, right, at two electrical substations last weekend, and they also sparked widespread speculation that the days-long blackout might be the latest of several attempts to shut down a local drag show meant to celebrate the LGBTQ community in rural Moore County. So the Moore County Sheriff said earlier this week that police have not found evidence connecting the attacks to the drag performance that began shortly before the power went out, nor have they released a motive. However, authorities are considering the time overlapping in recent attacks on similar events nationwide as they proceed with their investigation. Police have said the outages began shortly after 7 p.m. last Saturday after one or more people drove up to two electrical substations, breached the gates, and opened fire on them. Whoever was responsible knew exactly what they were doing to cause the outage that they did. So, here's my perspective based upon this. I am not inclined to believe that this is some random, group of people shooting at an electrical grid, an electrical substation. I don't believe that this is just some random attack. For starters, this Fields, who is the county sheriff, said that they knew exactly what they were doing to cause the outage because there is another quote. I don't know if it's from the same individual or for someone else, but they said that they had to target specific areas of the electrical thing to cause this outage to take place. So it was a premeditated plan. So there's no way that this was just some random attack. Additionally, the drag show began shortly before the power went out. The timing there is pretty, the timing is, it seems like it was one caused the other there, But not only that, but like one of the people who lives in that county, who lives in that county, made a Facebook post, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it, unfortunately. I could try in a second here, but the individual who made a Facebook post had said, actually, hold on, maybe I'll be able to find it. I do know that it was on a video that I had watched. Hold on. Unless it's going to be... No. Okay. Maybe this is what I'm referring to. So, okay, let me share with you. I just want to confirm that this was what I was looking for. So, unfortunately, I don't see the post itself. And they don't even say what the post says. This is bizarre that they don't share that. That's ridiculous that they don't do that. So, this was a post shared on Facebook, on social, whatever. We'll just read here. The power is out in Moore County, and I know why. Emily Rainey wrote on her Facebook page less than an hour after the electricity failed. Fields has said a suspect or suspects drove up to 2 Duke Energy Power substations after breaching gate in one station and opened fire, disabling them and resulting in a blackout that could last through Thursday. Rainey, who is a former U.S. Army psychological operations officer who left the military while under investigation for leading a group of people from North Carolina to the Capitol on January 6, has been a vocal opponent of drag shows in the state. That is an interesting connection here. In a follow-up post, along with a photograph of the Sunrise Theater, she wrote, "God will not be mocked." We're not dealing with rational human beings here. Her post has been shared on Facebook more than 200 times, generated 2,000 comments, blah, blah, blah. Right. I 100% believe that this was motivated by the anti-LGBT. Yeah, okay. I agree. Saw Rainey's post and began speaking with other people. And she said, "Everyone in the community knew this was going to go out there, and the queer community was fairly well aware of it. When the power went out, even the attendees of the drag show had a feeling that this was an anti." Okay. What's abundantly clear is that these substations were destroyed by firearms, and it just happened to be at the time that the drag show would occur, and it just happened that the person who was leading the protests against the drag show quite literally implied that it was due to the drag show being protested. Right. I wish that they would share the screenshot of the post, because I would like to dig into it. Alright, I guess I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way here. Do we have an image? Maybe another... that's not what I'm looking for here. Okay. This is ridiculous. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to do it this way. And I didn't want to do it this way, but... Okay, sorry. I just want to pull up the thing real quick. The Facebook post. Alright. Now bear with me here, okay? Because I have to show... It's going to be... this is from a video from Vosh who had the screenshot available. I can't find the screenshot of the post for some reason. So just bear with me, okay? I'll blow it up so we can only focus on that. All right. So the post. So this is from an individual who is connected to the who just shares some interesting information. So they said this took place right after. It either took place right after or before the power went out. They said, the Moore County Sheriff's Office just checked in. I welcomed them to my home. Sorry they wasted their time. I told them that God works in mysterious ways and it's responsible for the outage. I used the opportunity to tell them about the immoral drag show and the blasphemies screamed by its supporters. I told them God is chastising Moore County, thanked them for coming, and wished them a good night. This is clearly, okay? So like, I just want to understand here. This is really bizarre to say on a Facebook post. Firstly, the whole, I told them that God works in mysterious ways and it's responsible for the outage. What does that mean? You know, like, it seems like that, and the whole, like, sentence about, you know, drag shows, right? It being immoral. There's clearly a connection between the two here. And it strongly implies that this was motivated by anti-LGBTQ sentiment, you know, which, if that were the case, then this would be a terrorist attack. Because we're invoking religiosity with her mentioning God and stuff. You know, for the invoking the fear of a certain group of people, you know? Like, I think that it wouldn't be unreasonable to presume that that this was a anti-LGBTQ thing. So, okay, now let's pretend that it for sure is, okay? We don't technically have, like, a clear through line. We don't have, like, proof of, like, you know, this is for sure that, like, a far-right attack. But the evidence seems to suggest that it is. We have that post, right, that invoked the name of God, as well as the blasphemies of drag shows. We have the uptick and fear and intimidation against the LGBTQ community. This is in a rural county in North Carolina. The outage was seemed to be premeditated based upon the damage that was committed against the electrical substations, as well as it being conveniently timed right after the drag show had commenced, as well as the drag show being well known across the county to have been taking place at that point in time. So, with that all in mind, it seems like, and I'm not saying for sure, but it seems like this was a far-right terrorist attack to prevent the drag show from taking place. But apparently that didn't even work, because the drag show still took place in spite of the power going out. So, with all that being said, this kind of I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I'll say it once more. This is another step towards the camps being built, because if we have a group of people who are so compelled to enact violence against a minority group, that they're willing to cut the power that affects over tens of thousands of people just to spoil a drag show, that is the sign of that is an extreme escalation of violence. Now, obviously, we had the Club Q shooting, which people died in that circumstance, and that was already a major escalation. And I don't want to take that away, but we're getting we're seeing like infrastructural damage being done to just affect a drag show, just to like make it inconvenient or whatever. And I don't think it would be. I feel like it's not even just about the fact that they're trying to spoil the drag show. If they're willing to commit infrastructural damage, then who is to say that they wouldn't, cut the power, be able to find, where these people live, and go to where they live and I don't know if I would say kill them, but definitely, make them feel intimidated, invoke fear across the community. This is definitely what they're trying to do. And I don't see how they wouldn't be willing to do that in the near term if they had done this, right? Because they targeted 2 electrical substations. This is incredibly, not even just to mention the fact that it's going to harm, it's going to invoke fear across the LGBTQ community. It's also going to negatively affect, economic development, at least in the short term, for that county, right? Because like electricity is vital to cities, especially rural cities, because there isn't just you need electricity to because when you have electricity there I sound like an idiot right now. Basically you need electricity for the economy to function, okay, for the most part, okay. That's the bottom line, and in some circumstances it's also necessary to maintain the livelihoods of human beings, right? What if someone's on a ventilator? Well, I guess there are hospitals that use backup generators, so that's different. But I don't know. I mean, it's just it affects a lot of people in a lot of different ways. But yeah, man, this is pretty fucked up. And I've been covering LGBTQ shit almost every stream, it feels like. But it should never not surprise you the extent to which these people are willing to go to invoke fear across their community or flat out murder them. We've seen legislation attempting to be passed throughout these different states. I've mentioned this multiple times, but it bears repeating. In Idaho, they tried to criminalize gender or trans youth from seeking gender-affirming care across state lines. We saw the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. We had the genital inspection shit also in Florida, and I think also in Ohio. We've seen this shit all over the country, especially in red states. And it's it has to consistently be called out, like we can't ever hesitate or blink in the face of this rise of far right extremism. So yeah, man, it's and this is again another escalation of terrorist activity. And I don't know, I feel like like in terms of the grand scheme of things, like we really I know like Warnock just won Georgia, okay, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but man, we are in a like we can never like as Democrats are concerned, right? Like we can't ever afford another loss, really, because like if like a lot of the shit that happens in this country is passed through Congress, obviously. Um, but there's a lot of like sub shit that's going on, like at the local level, you know. Here, I'll change the camera. And like you just really can't afford to lose, you know. We we live in an unfortunate time where the country is so divided, and you know your median voter is incredibly ill informed on a lot of things that it's just like it's crazy, you know, like the circumstances that Democrats are in right now. You know, because of the fact that they are, you know, the Democratic Party is largely neoliberal. Because of that, they don't really have the tools to effectively combat fascism as a whole and the rise of fascism in the Republican Party. Their rhetoric is really milquetoast. I don't even think they have the tools to identify like the rise of fascism, and in a lot of respects, they enable that rise to take place. Um, I think that in some respects that's starting to change amongst the Democratic Party, but largely they aren't going to do shit. In a normal, sane country, like after January 6th, everybody who enabled it, including the politicians, would have been tried for sedition, you know? We're having this shit going on with January 6th, like the hearings, the hearing committee, whatever. And it's really important that we get this shit in writing, but if nothing comes of it, or if no like trial is conducted on account of sedition charges brought against these people, then there's no repercussions. You know, there's no like pushback against this rise of fascism. Um, and I know like this sounds extreme or whatever, but like it kind of is true. Um, you can't just allow this party, the Republican Party, to keep banging on the walls, because at some point the walls is gonna collapse. There has to be a proportional response here. That's, I mean, there's some signs that liberals understand this. You know, we saw like Biden give his that, if you guys remember the Biden speech with the him, calling out the MAGA Republicans for being anti-democratic or whatever. That's good, but if words mean very little, if not backed up by something, some action or whatever. So, that's kind of where we're at right now. I don't know. I think that liberals are starting to somewhat wake up to like how serious Republicans are, because like this isn't like a policy difference between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans fundamentally think that Democrats are communists to begin with, but like pedophiles, evil degenerates, like that they would, without a blink of the eye, incarcerate all Democrats, as well as like have them like, let them get the wall. Like we're not dealing with like political differences. We're dealing with like they want you dead. I feel like that's where we're at right now. Yeah, I don't know. What was I talking about before this? I don't know, man. It's again. I mean, again, it'll start with the demonization of a certain minority group. This case, it being the trans community, and then it'll branch out from there. We're already seeing it. Historically, it's been mainly like African Americans in the country, but they'll move to the next thing, right? After all the trans people have been rounded up or pushed back into the closet, then it's going to be gay people, then it's going to be black people. There is no end in sight here. So yeah, I think that I don't even know what to say. Voting isn't enough. I'll say that, I guess. It's really important, but it's definitely not enough in terms of fighting back against this. I'm not suggesting we, enact any sort of violence from the left, but we gotta defend ourselves too. If they try to, God forbid, cut power and go and visit and make a little visit to anybody's house. So, yeah, man, it's pretty wild, honestly. But on the plus side here, man, are we done with this? So, there was a runoff election in Georgia because neither candidate had received the majority vote. And my good buddy, fellow socialist communist Raphael Warnock got the dub against Walker. That's big because that pushes the or that used to push the oh fuck, I'm having a brain fart. That used to push the favor of Congress or of the Senate in favor of Democrats, 51 to 49. Yeah, I mean, so we have this is the votes here, but some big turnouts here. That's pretty good. That's good. Now, unfortunately, oh wow, turnout is lower. Well, I guess that makes sense. Not a single place was greater. Huh. Interesting. Now this is great that he won. Very big, actually. It suggests to me that Georgia is going to become well, has it always been a purple state? It's hard to, or a swing state. I don't think so. But it suggests to me that this is going to move from being like a solid red to like a purple. It went to Biden in 2020 and has flipped to Warnock here. So yeah, that's good. This is I mean, obviously very good. Warnock won. But this is somewhat dampened by one little person. Sinema, and this is, by the way, this was after Warnock had won, okay? Like, a couple days after. She announced that she's going to be changing her party affiliation to an independent. Which, again, the Democrats had just received a slight majority in the Senate. But now that she considers herself an independent, who had largely served the interests of Republicans anyway, it's going to tip it 50-50, I think, now. She says, nothing will change my values or my behavior, which is concerning given the fact that her values and behavior up to this point has been largely conservative. Democrats will still have a workable Senate majority in the next Congress, though it will not exactly be the neat and tidy 51 seats they assumed. They're expected to also have votes to control Senate committees, and Sinema's move means Manchin a pivotal vote in the 50-50 chamber the past 2 years, will hold on to some, but not all, of his outsized influence in the Democratic caucus. So Manchin, who is ostensibly a Democrat, who is registered for the Democratic Party, is a greatly conservative, holds greatly conservative values. A main reason why is because he is in West Virginia, which is a largely conservative state. He also receives a lot of money from the fossil fuel industry, so that has been influencing his policy prescriptions as well. She's not saying if she'll run for re-election in 2024. I don't anticipate that anything will change about the Senate structure. I don't believe that. Yeah. She says she never really fit into a box of any political party. This is a really stupid thing to say, because for the most part, many people don't fit into any ideology. There's always humans are very complex. It's not black and white. There's Democrats who are, probably pro life. There's no black and white you fit it within any sort of box, whatever. So in this respect, it's kind of like saying the sky is blue, I guess. But her leaving the Democratic Party, if nothing else, serves a symbolic, or delivers a symbolic message. So that's that. I know Bernie Sanders is independent, but, still. Yeah, I don't know. This seems just like some publicity thing, kind of appealing to whatever, to both Republicans and Democrats. It definitely seems self-interested, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Also, I feel like it's weird, for somebody who formerly affiliated with the Democratic Party to have been against the idea of weakening or abolishing the filibuster. I feel like even for neoliberals, they should, on principle, be against the filibuster. So that's just bizarre to me. But again, Sinema isn't, a staunch liberal. In fact, she's quite the opposite. It's crazy, man. It's honestly crazy how, Democrats can never have, a bone thrown their way. They win a slight majority, 51-49 in Senate, and this shit happens. Even when during, prior to these elections, you had Sinema and Manchin sabotaging the policies that were trying to be passed from Biden and the Democratic Party. And it's always something, man. I swear. So, yeah. Anyway, that doesn't necessarily take away from the victory here for Warnock. I think that's good because it also implies a trend we're seeing, since Georgia went blue in the general and now is voting for a Democrat for the Senate. Those are good. I think a big reason why Warnock had won in this case was because of turnout. Now I know that this says turnout was down, but still, the runoff election I don't think is going to be as high of a turnout relative to the other one, because maybe there's some people who don't even know. Wow, look at Stewart County here. 7.7 points more Democratic than the general election. That's crazy. Not a lot of people must live there, though. Look at this, Johnson County. 5.0 points more Democratic than general. And Herschel Walker still took the overwhelming majority of the votes. That's crazy. DeKalb County. Wow, okay. Fulton County really heavily favored Warnock, but that makes sense because I think that's, yeah, that's like Georgia or Atlanta. My bad. Yeah. Anyway, this is good. Warnock being in the Senate is good. He's not like, I don't know like exactly his policy prescriptions. I have seen him not. He doesn't seem like terrible in terms of being a Democrat, like your average Democrat. He definitely doesn't seem like amazing. Yeah, I don't know. I would have to dig in a little bit more about who he is. All I know is that Walker is terrible, and yeah, Sinema switching to independent seems to be born out of cynicism more than anything, but it won't probably have a major impact on the Senate structure. Because she's going to continue to vote as she has in the past anyway. So, whatever. She didn't confirm, she didn't like commit to, she's going to like go up for re-election in 2024. I wonder if she would or not. If she doesn't, then whatever, but just, yeah. Okay. Cool beans. All right. Let's see here. Nope. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Sorry. All right. Enough of that. I'm going to get some water. Hold on one second. All right. I was looking for my cat. was gonna bring him over, but he is MIA. Oh yeah, I saw this as well. Hold on. Why does that keep happening? Alright, can you guys see it? Okay, cool. I saw this on Twitter here. Yeah. Destiny, okay, Destiny, who's a streamer, was asked about Nick Fuentes, and he had a response here that I disagree with, so we'll look at it, okay? And hopefully you guys can hear it.
Do you believe that Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic?
I don't know, but I haven't thought about it a ton. I'm not sure. It's
okay.
There's a lot of different. The thing is that there's a lot of different factors at play that make it hard to know 100%. One is he is very edgy and engages in a lot of edgy humor. I'm very edgy and I engage in a lot of edgy humor. You could absolutely quote mine the fuck out of me in saying edgy things. So, but you gave two conditions. One is the actual conspiracy stuff, and the second is the jokes. I could satisfy the second part, the jokes. The first part, when you say well, is he anti-Semitic in terms of it believes in actual conspiracy theories? At this point, I have to try to tease apart very carefully, what are the actual anti-Semitic conspiracies versus what are the kind of populist, Jews and the elite are controlling society.
I don't see the usefulness in parsing out, splitting hairs over that. Personally, I don't see the usefulness in doing so, because you can't ever know if somebody is something, for sure, because you're not in that person's brain. Maybe in the future, if there's a way to connect your brain to someone else's brain, via HDMI cord or something, then maybe it's possible. I don't know, but as of right now, the main way we suss out whether somebody believes something is based upon their behavior and rhetoric. And for the most part, Nick Fuentes has engaged in anti-Semitic behavior and rhetoric. So parsing out the difference here is not necessarily useful, because we've seen the way he, we can look back on what he has said in the past. Now, I'm not saying to go back years and years and years, but you can look at what he's even up to now, him partnering with Ye, and going on the Timcast, and he even said on the Timcast what did he say? He said it is them though, right? When referring to the Jews, controlling. I think it was the media. That was the context of the conversation, I think. I'll have to go back and look. But, I think even, honestly, to some extent, if you even go back to, some of his older content, right, you need to establish whether, if his content has largely stayed the same, then I don't really think it matters how long ago he made those claims. Because if he hasn't demonstrated that he has changed in any meaningful way, then is it really a big leap to assume, because that's all we can do, that he's anti-Semitic?
Because the issue you run into is, depending on how broadly you're going to paint the quote-unquote anti-Semitic brush, now on the far left, and we actually saw this happen in the UK with Corbyn. And we've seen it happen with the Squad on the left and some of the anti-Israeli, the BDS or whatever sentiment and shit in the United States. We've seen it happen here too, where people are quick to say, well, these things make you sound anti-Semitic. If you oppose Israel, if you're trying to blockade their shit, if you're trying to trade, blah, 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 or yeah. So it's...
Well, I think there's a meaningful difference between being anti-Semitic and also being anti-Israel. If you're anti-Israel, then you're anti the Israeli state. You're not anti-Jewish people. That's a meaningful difference there. People who discuss geopolitical circumstances surrounding Israel aren't necessarily talking about Jewish people, or even engaging in anti-Semitism. That's something, actually, that's a or I wouldn't say a far right, but that's a right-wing framing of it, in my opinion. But yeah.
It's just, that's a really, really, really challenging question to answer. Yeah, go. Boom.
to what you said there, so you said, for example, okay, what do we mean? Is it just like Jews control the world, or is it like Jews and global elite control the world? I would say that both of those probably qualify as anti-Semitic statements. Would you disagree?
Personally, I would to a little extent because, well, for the Jewish part, yes, that's definitely anti-Semitic. With the global elite, that's a dog whistle, but not all global elites are Jewish people. And that's the only reason why I would kind of stray away from agreeing with that specific qualifier. But I think, largely speaking, both of those statements could be perceived as anti-Semitic, and they would be anybody who would perceive that as being anti-Semitic would be more than justified in doing so.
They probably would, I would imagine. Okay. If you think Jews control the world, yeah, or at the very assuming it's not true, right? Yeah, of course, that's an anti-Semitic statement, generally, yeah. But it's just the problem is that like for us to wade into these waters, we're gonna have to start to do a ton of analysis, a ton of like sophisticated irony and meta-irony analysis. We're gonna have to make sure that our sources are relevant enough that they're recent, because I don't know about stuff 4 or 5 years ago. No offense to Nick, or take offense. I don't care about Shady Sinema who's 19 or 20. He's 24 now. His beliefs might have changed quite a bit, and the political climate pre and post Charlottesville has changed. It's just so much work. I just don't.
I kind of agree with him with what he said about the meta irony and engaging in that, because you have to suss out whether or not he's being ironic versus if he's being like genuine. To that extent, I kind of agree, but at the same time, like, if you keep making the same jokes over and over again, and if you discuss openly that you're, a, how does he describe himself, Nick? I think he describes himself as a tradcath or a tradcon, or I forgot what he said exactly. But if you consistently make the same kind of jokes as well as engaging in the same kind of rhetoric and stuff, then at the end of the day, you're just serving the interests of the far right and also serving the interests of, their conspiracy theories, one of which does include the JQ. So is there, I guess a question you could ask yourself is there a meaningful difference between, somebody who genuinely believes in something or somebody who is willfully ignorant while serving the interests of that group? At the end of the day, as a consequentialist, you can look at it and be like, well, there is really no meaningful difference there because they're both serving the interests of the far right. And you could perhaps make that argument with respect to Nick Fuentes. Honestly, I can kind of understand where Destiny is coming from. At the same time, I think there's a preponderance of evidence suggesting that Nick Fuentes is anti-Semitic. I think we could more than likely make that conclusion. Just like there's a lot of evidence that we can pull from here. Yeah, I don't know, because again, the whole irony and shit like that, there are degrees to that. If you're consistently being ironic and consistently making those same jokes, then you serve the interests of that group. And also keep in mind, a lot of his audience are open, armband fucking Nazis, his audience, the audience he has cultivated. You can look at it is he being a grifter or does he genuinely believe what he does? I honestly think, it might be a little bit of both, as is the case for many people. But, at the end of the day, he serves the interests of anti-Semites. That's the way I look at it. So, I kind of understand what Destiny's saying, but, at the same time, we got to call a spade at some point. I mean, he's engaged in anti-Semitic rhetoric in the past, as well as serve the interests of the far right, who happens to adopt those same conspiracy theories. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's safe to say that he's anti-Semitic, Nick Fuentes. But, yeah. Yeah, that's just my perspective. don't think there's much else. Man, I've covered a lot today, and it's only been how long? How long have I been streaming? An hour 26? So really like an hour 16, because I was 10 minutes late. Yeah, covered quite a bit. My shoulders are kind of aching. Oh boy. Excuse me. Let me actually change the 1 second. God, there's a lot to discuss. Let's change this. Content live. Okay. Cool beans. All right. So, I have been trying to find some games to speedrun because I've been kind of I've always enjoyed speedrunning, but it takes a lot of like hours of practice and shit. And I have come back to Halo 2 for speedrunning because I've that's been the game that I've spent the most time practicing and whatever, right? I'm looking for some other games to speedrun, and Diablo 2 was one that I was considering for sure. And that's still going to be something I probably end up doing, but I've also looked at some other ones like Doom, and I kind of want to show you guys the speedrun I've been just what I've been doing on my off time, watching. And my doggies are fighting each other. Sorry. Alright, so I've been watching this shit. This is Doom. So, yeah, I've been the speedrunning for Doom, okay? Because this game looked. I've never played Doom, believe it or not. But I've been just looking at like some games to see like what looks like it'd be fun to speedrun. This definitely might be the next one I do. honestly. I'm gonna have to do some shit off stream a lot. You know what? Maybe I'll play Doom casual on stream as well. Because usually before you speedrun a game, it's probably best to like just play the game cash, just to get the sense of movement and whatever, you know, like where shit is, like the map, all that. Yeah, but this game, I never, and again, like Doom is like one of the most famous, popular first-person shooters in video game history. And I don't know, it's just I've been kind of also craving the aesthetic of old school retro shit. And Doom seems to fit the bill for me. I'll have to and it's pretty cheap on Steam as well. It's like, I don't know, like $5 or something. It's a pretty good deal. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And apparently they've been speedrunning this game, the speedrunning community, this game for a long time, for as long as I've been alive, maybe even longer. So yeah, I got a lot to learn. So this is the original Doom, yeah. This is yep, original Doom. I might do Doom 2 as well, because why not? But, you know, I'll have to learn one game at a time. What I will say, though, is I've also... So, like, this is probably going to be the next thing on my, you know, speedrun list, I guess. I do kind of... This is one of those games, because, like, there's different... Speedrunning is, like, different depending on the game. So, for instance, like, this is the kind of speedrun that's, like, a sprint. And the speedrun you would see in, like... Diablo 2 is more of a marathon. There's obviously time saves and shit like that, you know, as is the case for all speedruns. But for this, a lot of it is about saving... Every speedrun is about saving frames, right? But this is really about, like, movement. A lot of it's technical movements. That's similar, very similar, in fact, to Halo 2. But I think Halo 2 has a little more RNG components to it relative to Doom. Now, I could be wrong because I've only watched a couple of videos regarding speedrunning for Doom, but, you know, there's various degrees of RNG associated with each game that you speedrun. Diablo 2 seems pretty RNG heavy, too. A lot of games that I've seen are RNG, it feels like. I haven't speedrun Halo or Diablo 2 on stream before. That kind of speedrun is going to take a couple hours, and that's what I mean. You know, there's some games where it's like a sprint, and then there's others that is more like a marathon. So yeah, that's something to consider here. And there's also some speedruns that are more exploitative of like glitching and sequence breaking than others. So yeah, you know, this seems like it's going to be a fun game to stream as well as speedrun. So that might be the next thing I end up doing. And I also, you know, I want to get around to speedrunning Diablo 2. It's going to take a couple hours. It's going to be a full stream thing. I don't know. I don't know. I definitely want to... I'm going to need to practice before I implement it on stream. Also, I'm going to have to get live split. I actually already have it, but I'm going to have to figure out how it works. So, yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be fun though, doing all that. So yeah, I'm you know, this is one of the big things for me. I don't really talk about a lot of stuff, a lot of my interests necessarily, but obviously politics is a big interest of mine, but video games is as well. This channel was started on the basis of gaming, but speedrunning has been something I've taken, I've been accustomed to for a couple years now. So, yeah, I think Doom's gonna be fun to speedrun, and I might iron out some shit for Halo 2. I know what my ceiling looks like for Halo 2. I haven't speedrun Halo 2 on Legendary. I don't think I necessarily need to for it to be impressive anyway. I don't really care, but you want to start with the lower difficulties and move your way up anyway. Halo 2 is a fun game to speedrun in my opinion. So yeah. And I've been playing Halo for like my whole life. So I'm very used to the controls, which helps. Oh boy. Oh shit, oh my god, I totally forgot about this. Hold on. Where did this... Okay, this is wild. Okay, I saw this morning. Do you guys remember that guy who wore the rainbow flag or rainbow shirt in Qatar? He was a soccer writer, but he was found dead, and the details are unknown. And this is bizarre. So Grant Wall, who's a soccer analyst for CBS Sports, is reportedly dead tonight while covering the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. The specifics of his death are not yet known. His brother, Eric, took to Instagram to say he is gay and is the reason Wall earlier during the tournament wore a rainbow shirt to support his gay brother in Qatar, where it is illegal to be gay. The fact that this is a sentence is mind-blowing to me. It's like saying it's gay to be, or it's illegal to be black. It's crazy that this is a law. Mind-blowing to me. It's like saying your existence is not legal. It just boggles my mind. There's no confirmation to why he died, which is also, it's just weird here. There's like no specifics. Wall had previously discussed he's not feeling 100% physically, so there could have been an underlying issue. Wait, what's this?
We had 2 days here without games after 17 straight days of games, and my body,
this is him. Okay.
I think, told me even after the U.S. went out, dude, you are not sleeping enough, and it rebelled on me. And so I've had a case of bronchitis this week. I've been to the medical clinic at the media center twice now, including today. I'm feeling better today. I basically canceled everything on this Thursday that I had and napped, and I'm doing slightly better. That you can probably tell in my voice that I'm not at 100% here. Hopefully I will not cough during this podcast. I'm coughing a lot. Everyone's coughing here. This is by no means limited to me. Like, so many journalists have got a crazy cough. It sounds like a death rattle sometimes. The only thing that's surprising to me, actually, is there isn't that much COVID here. I thought there might be a real issue with that. we're not really seeing COVID cases. We're just seeing a lot of general sickness, coughing, colds, and I can't wait to be on the other side of what I have. But I am going to be ready to go. I'm attending on Friday.
Okay. This was posted December 8th, so that's 2 days ago. And he shared that so it seemed like he was experiencing some bronchitis. I don't, like, what's the lethality rate of bronchitis or something similar to that? Because isn't bronchitis characterized as having, like, fluid in the lungs or something? Or is that pneumonia? It's just weird. They can't even confirm how he died. We need to, like, an autopsy obviously is going to reveal, I would assume, the extent to how, like, what happened, but it's crazy that, like, this man who was castrated for having been gay or wearing a pride shirt, dies less than a month later. In a country, by the way, that is so intolerant of gay people that it is illegal to be gay. Now, okay, let's put on our conspiracy hats, okay? Is it possible that he was secretly assassinated? It's possible, but we don't have enough evidence to suggest that it happened, obviously, because we don't know how he died. Is it also possible? So he obviously shared that he wasn't feeling well for a couple days. He seemed like he was like gotten the upswing of feeling better from the way he was talking in that podcast. Is it possible that he was poisoned, like, and the fact that he wasn't feeling well a couple days before, they could use plausible deniability to say, like, it was from that and not the point. Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know, and I don't see like, why would anybody target this guy just because he was wearing a pride shirt? That seems like not enough to warrant killing some. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's just pretty crazy that, like, the timing here, So personally, I'm very against the idea of engaging in conspiracy. But I don't think it's necessarily bad to speculate on what's going on here because, like, we don't really have a lot of information. We'll have more, I hope, in the coming days. But I am shocked. This man who seemed healthy, in spite of, like, the fact that he said he wasn't feeling well before, he didn't, like, seem like he was on his deathbed or, like, nearing, he was gonna die soon. It's just weird. I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait till more information comes out, I guess, but yeah, we have to wait till there's more information. But it doesn't look good that somebody who was gay, who wore a rainbow shirt, in a country that is intolerant of gay people is found dead less than a month later. It doesn't look good here, But yeah, so anyway, that's very unfortunate. The life of anybody dying is bad. So I feel for his brother here. But again, we'll have to wait to see what details come out, I guess. Okay, I've covered quite a bit today, and it has been, only an hour and whatever. All right, I think we're good for now, or good for today. Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Yeah, I guess that's it for now. Man, I covered a lot. I know I keep saying that, but like, man, I covered like 6 stories today. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Well, I am. I'm gonna go, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. My dogs are freaking out right now, and yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week. Take care.